Hello, and welcome to the Steel Studio Podcast, Episode 2. And these are my Thursday thoughts. We'll do this every Thursday. Our thoughts about the current situation of the Steelers. Big week coming up next week with free agency. As of right now, the Steelers are $6 million under the cap of $182.5 million. I expected that to be a little higher. But even so, we'll do some restructures to free up more room, and it's what we do every year. Now let's go through some of the free agents, and I will tell you, in my opinion, who they will keep and who they will try to keep. Now, only Steelers know who they're going to keep. All these people that are guessing, they don't know. I believe if they want any one of these guys or a couple of them, they can make it happen. You can always rearrange cap room and salaries and contracts to make it happen. But players, please be forewarned, leaving the Steelers is never a good idea. In the short term, you may get a payday, but in the long run, it's never guaranteed. Just ask Bell, Brown, Jesse James, B.J. Finney, Sean Davis. The list goes on and on. And don't mistake the signing of Ray today, which is a great signing, as a replacement for Juju. He is a total special teams guy, and that's all he's really considered. He'll do a few things on offense, but he is not going to replace Juju. The unrestricted free agents that we'll go through here are Bud Dupree. Now, I think Bud will go grab a one-year deal somewhere else. I wouldn't want to take the chance anyway with a torn ACL. Some players are never the same. If he'd take $5 million or $7 million for a year, if we lose Juju or one of the other guys, I would consider it. I'd keep him. Otherwise, see you, Bud. Great job. But we have Highsmith. We'll be fine. Now, Juju, I think Juju will stay. I just can't imagine the Steelers letting him walk if Big Ben wanted him back. After all, that was the first thing Ben said after the season was he wanted Juju back. And Ben took a pay cut. And he did that so they could keep guys like Juju and be competitive. I think Juju will stay unless he asks for way too much money. And I think how it's going to work is they're going to go to Juju. They're going to offer him the big deal. If he turns it down, they'll go to the next highest priority guy, which is Bud. One of those guys is going to get retained. And Hilton, so on, so on. Alejandro Villanueva. I think he's gone, although it would not shock me if the Steelers signed him to a 1 or 2 year deal. He loves the Steelers. They made him who he is. You haven't heard anything out of the guy. But he may go for the money, but it wouldn't shock me if he stayed. If he leaves, it's okay. He's not a great run blocker anyway. He's a good pass protector, though. And we'll just grab one in the draft, as this is a heavy tackle draft. Mike Hilton, I think he's gone. I think he wants big money. He's counting down the days till he can go. He can be replaced. He is a tough tackler. He always makes plays. But he hasn't been great in coverage the last couple of years. He can be replaced. But I love the guy. If he could get him back on a good deal, I would take him back. And maybe that's another one. We just don't know. We're guessing. But I think he's going to go for the money. Cam Sutton, I think we will re-sign him with a 3 or 4 year deal to replace Hilton. He's a valuable backup as well. And I think that's what's going to happen with him. He's a good player. If we lose both, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be so many guys out there available on 1 or 2 year deals, veterans. Matt Filer, I think we will keep Matt Filer on a 1 or 2 year deal as depth to compete for right tackle. I just don't see a big market for Matt Filer. Also, Zach Banner, I think he will sign a 1 or 2 year deal and stay and compete for the left tackle's position. Although I don't think he's going to be the starting left tackle. Williamson, the linebacker, I think he only stays if we part ways with Vince Williams. If we keep Vince, I don't think we'll keep Williamson because we have Spillane and we'll be just fine at inside. Tyson Alulu, I think he will sign a 2 year deal to stay. I'd be surprised if he wants to go anywhere else at this point. Cassius Marsh, I think he stays on a minimum veteran deal if he stays at all. Let's face it, he's just another guy. I love the guy. He's got intensity, but he's just another guy. Wormley, I think Wormley may stay on a cheap deal. If not, it's fine. To me, he wasn't worth what we paid for him, a 4th round pick. He did play well at the end of the season. But take him or leave him. I'd love to have him back, of course, as everybody else, but there's going to be plenty of guys out there that could fill that role. As far as Jordan Berry goes, we'll probably end up signing him on a cheap deal and let him compete in camp And if he loses a job, we'll cut him just like we did last year. Punters are easy come, easy go. James Conner. I think Conner will surprise everyone and stay as a backup and third down back on a cheap 1 or 2 year deal. I can't see Conner going anywhere else. He wants to stay. He loves Pittsburgh. Could be wrong. Isadora, it's minimum or see ya. And the rest of these guys, Adane, Dangerfield, Hawkins, and Sean Davis. Unless they want to sign for a cheap deal, see ya. And I'd love to have Sean Davis out of all those back because he could be a valuable backup. And I don't think they played him enough last year. The guy knows their defense. If any of these guys want to leave, it's not the end of the world. As I said before, there were plenty of savvy veterans looking for jobs, and we will grab them on the cheap deals. This year, now more than ever, with the cap going down. And I think it's really going to help the Steelers more than it would a team that had a ton of cap room because guys are going to want to play for a team that's competitive like the Steelers. We're all in this year, guys. We're not just going to let this team fall apart. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Steel Studio, and we will be also Spotify, anywhere you get your favorite podcast. And check us out, and we will be back next Thursday. Me or someone else. I'm Rick Mooney, by the way, and this is my Thursday Thoughts. Go Steelers.